Sean McCormick here for Radio Hannah. In this video, we're going to show you how we put together a radio show in Audacity, our free audio editing software. Now, the show we're putting together is the weekly John Deadlock Monday morning show. John is one of our volunteer broadcasters, and he actually is a retired professional with almost half a century of broadcasting experience. He started after World War II, he retired in 2000, and he's back doing it now at the age of 81, which is really impressive. So John's been kind enough to record shows for us, and when he records a show, he does it using a portable digital recorder, a Tascam DR40. And he gives us the recorder, we pop the sound card out, and we take all those files and stack them in Audacity in the right order with the musical selections he's given us. And that's what you're going to see today. So, without further ado, we're going to start building the John Deadlock Show. So I'm just going to open a folder that has all of my music files and all of my sound clips from John's recorder. So we're looking at the sound clips, and I've got them organized by name. We're going to start with the Deadlock Show intro. Next, we're going to take the first sound clip from his recorder, drop it in there. It's asking, do I want to make a copy to the hard drive or just read directly from the original, which in this case is a thumb drive. I'm just going to read from the thumb drive because it's faster. Okay, it always puts the track right at the beginning, which is annoying, so we're going to drag it over using the Move tool. And we'll give it a listen.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody, and welcome to the John Deadlock Show for this Monday, the 7th day of November.
We just tweaked the volume a bit. We're looking at our levels. Looks pretty good.
It's done up by Kayu Sakamoto. He is the artist doing the song.
Okay, we're just finding out what the name of the next song is that goes in there. So we'll go to our music selections, and Sukiyaki by Kayu Sakamoto is being dropped in. We're just moving that over. Looks pretty good. We will give it a listen.
The artist doing the song.
And we lined that up perfectly. Make sure we cut that off before we trigger a YouTube copyright infringement. Going back to sound clips, the last one was John 1, so now we're dropping in John 2. And it's asking again, do we want to read the files directly from the original? Yes, and we're saying don't show this again because it's becoming annoying. Move tool, move our file over.
Well, hope you enjoyed that one. That really is an oldie. Let's
magnify that and have another look. Take out the little bit at the beginning that we don't want. Farther back into the fade out.
Well, hope you enjoyed that one. That really is an oldie.
Shrink this up again.
Is an oldie. One of the tunes that he put out really that started to make Elvis quite popular. I'm sure you'll recognize from years ago, Jailhouse Rock.
Okay, we've identified which track we're putting in next. Go to our folder, music selections, and Elvis the Pelvis is being dropped in. Move tool, drag it over, get her in place. Just magnify that and see where everything ends, and we will line her up. And then we'll give it a listen.
Presley.
Perfect. Shrink that up a bit. Our last file was John 02, so we're going to find John 03. Sound clips. Drag in clip number 3 from John's recorder. Move tool. Move it over. Line that up and try.
Well, I'm sure you recognize that one by Elvis Presley, and it's called The Jailhouse Rock. By this tune, it's called I Want Candy.
Okay, we know the name of the next song to drop in, so we're finding that. Back to our music selections. I Want Candy by the Strangeloves. Move tool. Drag that puppy over. And just so you know, you can actually put things on the same layer if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. So we're just playing around with it for demo purposes. Line it up a little better. And listen.
Want candy.
Just move it a bit to the right so it doesn't cut in quite so fast.
Want candy.
Better. Shrink this up a bit so we can see things a little better. Go back and find file John 04. Drop that in. And we are going to get rid of that layer that we don't need. Okay, time to move over John's audio file. Get rid of the extra there we don't want. Select it and hit delete. Move our file to where it fades out nicely, I think. Give it a play.
Couldn't help but think of a young lady
that works. We're going to find...
anyway, let's... I'll ask Sean to, if he doesn't mind, present some of the...
Okay, that's a note to me when I'm editing.
Very, very close together. And mention Charlie Fielding, they would be very, very close together. Believe me. So anyway, let's... I'll ask Sean to, if he doesn't mind, present some of the highlights of the talks with...
That's my cue to put in the first Charlie Fielding segment that we got from the Memory Project.
Close together. Believe me.
Okay, so we've cleaned that up, taken a note to me, and we're going to find the Charlie Fielding segment, which I forgot to put on here, so we're going to pause the video for a second. Now, you notice the file disappeared in the list. I had that on a separate thumb drive, so I copied it across. We're back recording, and we dropped in the file from the Memory Project of Charlie Fielding, World War II vet. Line that up using the Move tool. I'm going to magnify that so we can see where things start and begin. Start and end, pardon me.
Believe me.
From Belgium, of course, we swung up into Holland, and we were through the Battle of the Shells. So our job was to recover. Our tanks would get stuck in the bog and the...
Okay. Shrink that up again. Close the extra window. And find John number 5, which is the next audio clip we have to drop in. Drop it on the timeline. Move tool. Drag it over to the end. Zoom in. Move tool. Give it a listen.
Yes, thank you very much, Sean, and thank you very much, Charlie. Towards the end of the show.
Okay, I don't want to be mentioned there.
Yes, thank you very much, Sean, and thank.
So we're going to just zoom in and take out the mention of me.
Thank you very Sean, and thank you very and thank.
Okay, select, press delete.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
Okay, that's better. We've gotten rid of me. We don't need to reference me in the broadcast. That is out of there.
It's called For Once in My Life.
And we know the next song that we're going to play. Go back to our music folder. And Stevie Wonder is now on deck. So we need our move tool. Drag that over. You'll notice that as our file gets longer and longer, our broadcast, it's getting harder to see things. So we have to zoom back in. Use our move tool to line it up just a bit, and we'll give it a listen.
It's called For Once in My Life.
Perfect. We like that. Go back to our sound clips, and we want John 06. That's the next one. Move that over. Magnify so we can line things up. Yep, we need to line things up a little better than that. Move it over. And we'll give it a listen.
Yes, there we go. Yes, there we go, Mr. Stevie Wonder, and For Once in My Life.
Sounding good.
And we'll be around with that in just a few moments. We'll be calling back Charlie Fielding on the Hannah Lodge activity calendar, and we'll be around with that in just a few moments. We'll be calling back Charlie Fielding.
Okay, there was a bit of confusion with the end of this file, so we're removing it.
And we'll be around with that in just a few moments. And I'd like to bring to your attention, we also have some highlights from the Hannah Lodge activity calendar, and we'll be around with that in just a few moments.
Okay, we're finding John 07. That's our next clip. Drag that in. And this is a big one because John was doing the Hannah Lodge News. He covers senior events and activities here in Hannah. Zoom in. Move tool. Give that a listen.
Few moments. The interview that I will be having with Charlie a little bit later on in the show. I'd like to bring to your attention in regards to the Hannah Food Bank.
Okay, the bit about the interview was a little awkward.
The interview that I will be having with Charlie a little bit later on in the show.
Okay, we're just going to remove that. Give her a listen.
I'd like to bring to your attention in regards.
Okay, that works out nicely. Now let's find out what our next song is, or what our next file is.
One of you will forget. I know the veterans enjoy it. It's Johnny Horton, and yes, you guessed it, the Battle of New Orleans.
Back to our music folder, Johnny Horton. Move tool. Try and line that up. Now we have to magnify and see if we've got things lined up properly. Actually, that was pretty close. Let's give her a listen.
Of New Orleans.
Pretty good. Go to the end. That's got a long fade out. Let's take out a little more. And let's highlight some and just fade that out so we have a faster fade out in the show. There we go. Back to our musical selections, Deadlock Show, sound clips. We want John number 8. We have to drag that all the way over using our move tool. Magnify. Move tool, drag that over just a bit. Listen.
Johnny Horton.
Move it over a bit more.
Johnny.
Not quite happy. A little more.
Johnny Horton. And
that is better.
And it's good to hear those old-time favorites. And
okay, so he didn't announce a song, so that means we're going to play John's 9th clip. Drop that in. Move that over.
And it's good to hear those old-time favorites. I'd like to, at this time, send out a special thank you to the committee and...
Okay, we're going to go to the end of this clip and find out what we're doing next.
Well, on now till another one song, and then we'll bring in an interview.
We haven't saved yet, so we're going to save our project. Now remember, this is a project file. It tells Audacity where to find all the individual audio files that we've used so far to create this project. It is not saving a sound file. We've had a problem in the past with people saving this and thinking they've saved a sound file. So it's a list of all the dependencies. Those are the individual files called out for this and their position in the track. It's not a sound file. We'll be doing an export at the end of a mixdown of everything in this project.
This is an oldie. It's a tune simply titled Things.
Okay, we know the name of our next song. We're going to go and find Things by Bobby Darin and drop that puppy in there. Magnify, line that up a bit. I think we're pretty close, actually. Give it a listen.
Things.
Nice. Get rid of the extra. Delete. Highlight a bit more. And we're going to fade that out. Nice fast fade of the song. Good. Okay, go back and find John number 10. And the change in the file name there is just a reminder to me when I put that on there that the Charlie Fielding interview goes after that file. Magnify a bit more.
Well, there we have it.
I like where that is. We're going to go and find...
I'd introduce Charlie Fielding.
Our Charlie Fielding interview. It's in 2 parts. There is part 1. Just moving that over. Okay, we'll magnify, see if we line things up properly. Just gonna take out a little bit of noise at the beginning. Go and give her a listen.
Well, hello, everyone. John Dedlock speaking.
Actually didn't mean to do that. Meant to move it over. There we go. Let's drop in the second part of the interview. Move that over. And I'll move it up to the same line. They're now on the same layer. Move that back. Give it a listen.
Well, hello.
You know what? I know I got it right. I'm just going to move forward from this because I'm running out of time. This is what happens when you leave everything to the last minute. So I'm looking for John number 11. There we go. Drop that in. And we're going to move that over. Go. We need to magnify. See if we line things up properly. Magnify a little more. And listen.
With this. Well, thank you very much, Charlie.
That worked out nicely.
And then we'll say goodbye. And this one is the Everly Brothers, Until I Kissed You.
Okay, we know the name of our next song we have to drop in. It's the last one, so go back up to our music selections. Everly Brothers, Till I Kissed You. Drop that in. Okay, we're going to give that a listen here in a moment. Actually, move that first. And we'll listen. Perfect. Fade out the ending there nicely. A little faster fade out. And now we want John's closing segment, which is John 12. Drop that in. We need to move it over. Magnify. Move that so it overlaps the fade out a bit. Give it a listen.
Well, it's all the time we have for today's show.
Go to the end.
Righty. Goodbye now.
Okay. And we're going to find the outro to John's show and drop that in there. That wraps up the show basically once that's in there. So we need to move that over. Just magnify one last time. And move that in. Give her a listen.
Righty. Goodbye now.
Perfect. So that is how we want things. We're going to save the project one more time. And we're going to shrink this up so everything fits on one screen. So I'm just closing everything to a narrow vertical view because I want you to see what the entire file looks like. So I'm just going to speed this up to get to the end. So there you go. Now you can see all the clips on the timeline. I'm just going to move this up and down for you a bit so you can see what all the tracks look like. All the layers in the timeline that create our complete file. So we're going to File, Export Audio. We're going to export as an MP3. We're going to call it the John Dedlock Show. We're going to pick a constant bit rate of 128 kilobits per second, which is good enough. We're going to choose stereo. And we're going to add final mixdown. So we know that this is the final mixdown from the show. We're going to change the metadata here, and the artist name is John Deadlock. He's the one who recorded the show. Track title is John Deadlock Monday Morning Show, Episode 11. Not going to worry about the title, not going to worry about my name in there, or the genre, and the year is just 2016. We'll say OK. And it's now exporting the file, which will take about 10 minutes on a very fast computer even, because it's a very large file. It's an hour and 40 minutes. So the computer is doing a good job. And that is how we create a radio show using pre-recorded segments and pre-recorded music files using Audacity, our free audio editor. This is Sean McCormick for Radio Hannah. I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you for watching.